All right, I'm going to call this meeting to order at 7:01 PM. Good evening. This is a regular meeting of the Ferndale Schools Board of Education being held on Monday, September 16th, 2024. Our meeting is being video recorded and will be posted on the Ferndale Schools YouTube channel. All meetings in the Ferndale Schools are held in public in compliance with the Open Meetings Act. Printed documents discussed at tonight's meeting are available to the public upon request, with the exception of any information protected by student or employee privacy rights. Board meeting information is posted on our website at www.ferndaleschools.org. If you do not have internet access and need information, please contact the board offices at 248-586-8652 by Thursday of the week prior to the meeting, and district staff will do their best to work with you. Item 1.1, roll call. Roll call, Ms. Shepherd.
Seglarek.
Here.
Eltark.
Here.
Hart. Latash.
Here.
Turner.
Here.
Vice President Fulmer.
Here.
Thank you.
Item 1.2, approval of the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda? Then without objection and with unanimous consent, the agenda as amended is approved. Item 2, public comment. This is a time for public participation in the meeting. The Board of Education intends for the public to have many opportunities to address the board and administration of their school district. These include email, phone calls, face-to-face meetings, community gatherings, public hearings, and other public meetings. We welcome individual and group input into the important issues that confront our schools. As noted at the top of the agenda, this is a meeting of the school board open to the public. We want to provide fair and impartial guidelines for participation as required by the Open Meetings Act and to encourage transparency and equal treatment for everyone in attendance. We also recognize that an effective meeting facilitates better decisions and promotes openness by allowing more people to stay for the full length of the meeting. To meet these goals, please note the following. We ask that you identify yourself and list contact information on a contact sheet to help administrators follow up with you and your comment. If you do not wish to do so in writing, please identify yourself at the podium, and if you need a response, please provide contact information with an administrator after the meeting. I will call on the people who have completed comment sheets first. Each person will have one opportunity to address the board for up to 3 minutes. Comments or questions should be directed to the board vice president. Treasurer Seglarek will raise his hand when your time is within a few seconds of expiring. This period of public comment is for both non-agenda items and issues that are on the agenda. Public comments will end at the close of this part of the agenda. In the event that a number of people are wishing to comment requires longer than 30 minutes, public comment will be temporarily postponed after 30 minutes, and time will be added at the end of the meeting. Complaints about staff should be made outside of board meetings and should follow the applicable board policy. Please contact the superintendent's office if you have any questions regarding this item. The board cannot respond to complaints about employees in public. This is meant to promote fairness to the staff person and the complainant. The Ferndale Public Schools community acts with great civility towards one another. Please help us to maintain that tradition during public comment. We have 2 public comment sheets. The first one is Mr. George Harris.
Good evening, Mr. Vice President.
Good evening.
Members, my name is George Harris. I am the founder and CEO of Safe Schools, Secure Futures. And what my company does is we partner with smaller school districts to help them with their safety and security planning, with their emergency planning, because I know as the state police has put out their new EOPs for this year, and that was the first change since 2012. That can be a daunting task regardless of how many schools you have. We have extensive experience in that, conducting behavioral threat assessments, training on that, training on active shooter protocols, and overall security planning for schools. I just wanted to introduce myself to you before you saw an email hit your box and you thought it was spam, and you sent me over to the spam box and reported me to IT. But I have over 13 years of experience exclusively working in schools, doing these in large and smaller school districts. I'm currently partnering with another smaller school district right now. Just reviewed all of their emergency plans so they can submit them to the state. Just going over some of the things that I see that they could help make the school safer and the environment conducive to teaching and learning. That's me. I'll leave my card with Ms. Shepherd, and I look forward to talking to you guys later. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Our next person for public comment is Erin Molnar. Sorry.
Hey, hi everyone. I wanted to introduce myself. My name is Erin Molnar. I am running for school board in the November election. So if I haven't met you, hello. I have met several of you, and I'll just introduce myself to the community. I'm not able to make it to the candidate forum that is coming up because it is my oldest's birthday. So I hope to be able to provide answers to questions in some other way. I will work with the organizers to do that. I just wanted to introduce myself. I have two kids. One is just started middle school this year, and one is in 4th grade at Upper. I've lived in Ferndale for 12 years. I obviously love Ferndale. It's my favorite sweatshirt, says Ferndale. I have a long history of serving the community. I've been on, a long time ago, the Kulik Center Task Force. I served on the Downtown Development Authority Board. I've been a member of the City Master Planning Committee. I'm currently chair of the Parks and Rec Committee. I've volunteered elections. I'm heavily involved in Ferndale, and I love this city and I love these schools. My background is not in schools or education. I'm just a regular mom. I'm not a regular mom. I'm a cool mom. But I just wanted to be of service, and my professional background is in communications and marketing and business, so I'll probably be more astute at budget stuff than at school stuff. What else? I'm passionate about particularly transparency and communication, and trying to reach people who might not always have time or resources to do things like come to a school board meeting. And depending on election results, I will look forward to working with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else for public comment? Okay. Then public comment is closed, and we will move on to item 3, consent agenda. Item 3.1, request to approve minutes from the special meeting of August 5th. Item 3.2, request to approve minutes of the special meeting of August 9th. Item 3.3, request to approve minutes of the regular meeting of August 19th. Item 3.4, request to approve new hires, resignations, and transfers. Item 3.5, request to approve bills and accounts for August. Item 3.6, request for approval of the 2025 Head Start grant application. Does anyone wish to remove an item from the consent agenda for questions or discussions later? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Moved by Peter,
Second?
seconded by Jonathan. Roll call, Ms. Shepherd?
Seglerek,
Yes.
Elturk,
Yes.
Latash. Yes. Turner,
Yes.
Vice President Fulmer.
Yes.
Thank you.
With 5 yes votes, the motion passes and the consent agenda is approved. Item 4, action items. Please note that all action items being voted on tonight were discussed in depth at the Committee of the Whole meeting held on Tuesday, September 3rd at 6 p.m. We invite and encourage community members to attend our Committee of the Whole meetings, which are also open to the public. Item 4.1, request to approve MASB delegates for the annual leadership conference. Delegate President Dookie and Treasurer Seglerek, correct?
Stand-in delegate, but yes.
Okay. I will entertain a motion to approve item 4.1.
So moved.
Moved by Jonathan,
Second.
seconded by Sarah. Any discussion on the motion?
Have a great time.
Roll call, Ms. Shepherd.
Elturk,
Yes.
Latash.
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Seglerek,
Yes.
Vice President Fulmer.
Yes.
Thank you.
With 5 yes votes, the motion passes, and item 4.1, request to approve MASB delegates for the annual leadership conference is approved. Item 4.2, request to approve the dynamic plan facilitator. I will entertain a motion to approve item 4.2. Moved by Jen,
Second.
seconded by Sarah. Any discussion on the matter?
I just appreciate all the work and rework that has gone into this. In all seriousness, I know there have been a lot of considerations for people who have been part of the audience about what's the best, method to get honest and good feedback, first and foremost, transparency, costs, and I really feel like we've hit a good place that balances it all out. So thank you for the work on that.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I want to echo what Peter said, because I know we had a lot of questions and feedback and created extra work in a time where you were ready to get going. And I think that the outcome is a work plan that positions the district for a really great dynamic plan.
Mhm.
And I really appreciate that investment.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ditto all that. But yes, thank you.
Roll call, Ms. Shepherd.
Latash.
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Seglerek,
Yes.
Elturk,
Yes.
Vice President Fulmer.
Yes.
Thank you.
With 5 yes votes, the motion passes, and item 4.2, request to approve the dynamic plan facilitator is approved. Congratulations.
Very excited.
Item 5, superintendent's update.
Good evening. I believe I have one tonight. I am proudly a member of now the Oakland County Superintendents Association's Legislative Committee. And we had our first meeting, and there is one particular, there's always bills that I'd like to have on your radar, but there's one very specifically involving all of you all that I want to make sure that it's on your radar. It is actually currently in the Senate, and it is Senate Bill 967. Specifically, Senate Bill 967 would, I'm getting there. The legislation requires that a school district, ISD, or public school academy must post the name and contact information of each member of its school board on its public website. The contact information must include an email, a mailing address, and a telephone number. So that is new. That is new, that it is potentially becoming a mandate. So again, just wanted to make sure that since it is specific to the board, that it is on your radar. From what I understand, it's moving pretty quickly through the Senate. So
Wouldn't that be like the school board email, the school board office, and the school board phone number? Sorry, Ms. Shepherd.
no, so that was our exact question. I'm like, don't they have to do all those things to run? But we are reaching out to confirm that it does not have to be like a home address, a personal. We're just trying to get as specific as possible. But that was our first read and our understanding. So they're reaching out to the legislator that proposed that. So
If I
Sure.
may ask, and if
Sure.
you know the answer, do
Sure.
you know if it was a Republican
yes, it was.
person or a Democratic person?
It was a Republican.
Okay.
So again, just an FYI, again, the language that was used is that it is moving quickly.
I'm sorry, one more
No,
question.
no.
And this isn't even gonna affect me,
Right.
but do we know if the MASB, as the
Yeah,
Association of
great
School Board,
question.
is going to be advocating for it to be a public address, meaning the school building, so that people's individual home addresses aren't available on a website for
So
the
what-
various purposes?
Great question. So typically what we discuss in our committee meetings is, are we as a county going to take a position? And hands down, what we stated was that we wanted to wait for MASB to see what their position was on that. So that is where things were left, was we want to see what MASB says first. If they want to dig into that, I would hope that they will honor your personal home addresses and personal contact info. So I'd be very surprised if they said otherwise. But that we're waiting for MASB on this. But again, because they used the term quickly, I just wanted to make sure that I raised that.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. So as I get updates, I'll make sure that I will inform the board. Again, just one more that is also moving quickly, not as much related directly to school board members, but it is they're calling it the dyslexia bill. And the reason why I'm saying they're calling it the dyslexia bill is probably the first time you may have seen it. It is a very different version of what was initially proposed now. It sounds as if they are taking the feedback from ISDs and making some adjustments. So like every day, there's a different iteration of the bill. So our homework was to dig in to see the differences. We as a county have not, historically, we have been opposed to this bill because of this very, very, it's very punitive, I guess you could say. And our position is, if there is a mandate coming from the state, then we also need funding to be able to support the implementation of said mandates. That's our position, hands down. So again, that was also the only other one that was brought up, and that is currently, sorry, just a second. That is currently in it's currently in the House. So I will get the exact House bill in just a second and make sure you have that. But again, those two will have huge, the dyslexia bill potentially have huge implications for all of our buildings. So we're watching that one very closely. Again, we'll keep the board informed of anything that changes. Literally every day there are new bills introduced. So those that are moving quickly, I want to make sure that the board is aware. And that's my update today, unless there's any questions.
I have one legislative question. Pardon me if this is old news. I've been out of the game for a few weeks. But was the MIPSR's rate reduction ever committed statutorily?
No.
Okay, that's what I thought.
It's still very much so. They made it seem like there's big arguments happening around that one just because it can't get settled on the amount and how they're going to reimburse, and, you know, it's
Okay.
still, nothing has been settled with that.
Gotcha.
Still a biggie.
Appreciate
No
that
problem.
update.
Great. Informational items. Item 6.1, budget to actual report.
Good evening.
Good evening.
This is the budget to actual for August 31st, or through August 31st. It's still early in the year, so there's not too much going on. Are there any questions? No?
Nope.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Early, it's early.
Yeah.
Item 6.
See you in a month.
Right.
Yes. Item 6.2, timeline and process for Throon policy implementation.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Presenting, actually reviewing some information with everybody that we shared at the committee of the whole meeting earlier this month. Excuse me one second. Excuse me. So we have worked with Throon and enclosed with the board packet tonight information that was presented to the board earlier this month about a transition to Throon Policy Services away from Neola. We believe that as you will remember seeing at the committee of the whole meeting earlier this month, this represents a really good move across the board, really good policies that are authored and developed by our lead counsel that connect down to administrative guidelines and policy manuals for employees and for students. We think that this is a good thing all around with a relatively tight 3-month timeline, maybe looking a little bit beyond that depending on how much personalization we end up doing. But our next steps are really kind of breaking those policies down, as you recall from the presentation, forming committees and looking at the personalization and processing those policies. So we're very excited about this move. We think it's a good one legally for the district, and we're excited to work with Throon on it, and I'm happy to answer any questions anybody has.
Tom, you alluded to this, but I thought the timeline was beyond optimistic because we had a conversation, I believe, at the committee of the whole about how cabinet and your leadership would take the first, and I'm aware this is a lot of policies, and you all have other jobs and responsibilities.
Correct.
So, just in terms of our own process, I mean, they have theirs, and do we want to just customize it in a way that's more realistic for us? And then my follow-up question was, do we go right from the work that you all do to a full board meeting, or does it make sense to have like a small, committee of the board be an intermediary in that process so that when it comes to the full board, we're able to move more in a more streamlined way?
Sure. So 2 things in that question, Mary, and I'll try to respond to both of them. As you'll remember, we have existing policy, and we do until we get to the very end of the process when we dismiss the old policy and bring in the new policy. So if our very ambitious 3-month timeline ends up being a 5-month timeline, that's okay. We know that. It's like setting goals, right? We don't always achieve the goals that we set, but the point is to work towards them. So again, the important thing, I think, is that we already have existing policies in place, and those will remain in place until we can work through the things that we can work through. I think that we have some good conversations coming about board involvement in that process of developing those processes, whether we invite members to be a part of individual subcommittees, or whether we establish kind of an ad hoc board group that's overseeing all of it. I think we can talk more about that. Because I think the process lends itself to either one of those.
And I'll just chime in too that, first, I think that your, is rooted in concern for our bandwidth, which I appreciate sincerely.
Very much so.
But I think that, our first step is, as a cabinet team, is still the same plan, right? And
Yes.
we foresee us being able to give in our weekly updates as a format, or even in each of the board meetings, just a status update of where things are, how things are progressing, who's owning what part of the policy review. And I definitely think that there will be a time where we say we need more time. I foresee that coming, but we definitely, we would rather do the hard work now, because we see so many issues, lack of better words, with some of the Neola policies, and we just rather just put our heads down and grind it out, so that we can have, by end of year, we're ready to go with the launch of new policy through Troon.
Absolutely.
When you say end of year, do you mean end of year calendar year, end of year school year?
Absolutely school year.
Okay.
Definitely not 2024.
And I just want to clarify for the folks at home.
Yes.
Um, reiterating what was said in the committee of the whole meeting, the board getting the professional feedback from the
Correct.
cabinet, as so much of
Correct.
this is very much in the legalese of education,
For
right?
sure.
And us wanting to make sure that it is
Mhm.
policy that is going to work for educators.
Absolutely.
So we're getting that feedback,
Correct.
and then still the ultimate responsibility is on the board for how it is revised from there or passed.
And I'll also add, for those who were not present at the committee of the whole as well, that Troon is our legal counsel. Troon is currently in the process of reviewing our code of conduct for final launch, right? So it just, we are currently operating with almost halfway in with Troon, and it just made so much sense to make things a lot more aligned. Just an example of that is, there were some pieces in the code of conduct where they were, hey, we have a policy around this, where if you are moving towards Troon, it might make sense to kind of adjust some of the language to match. So it just made a lot more sense to go in this direction, because we were already taking a halfway step towards that anyway, with a lot of the work that we're doing from their legal counsel.
Anything else?
No, I think this is long overdue, so
Yes.
thank you for,
That
we
makes-
needed a revamp and a review, deep dive for a long time. It's
Yeah.
fantastic.
I'm super excited about it. Item 6.3, first read for the purchase of the board policy services.
So again, documents are closed there. The expenses are listed as well. At least they should be. Are they?
They are.
I think I saw them at the end.
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Starting page
Um,
82.
So, it begins, obviously, some initial implementation costs, but the annual costs, as well as the implementation costs, we're still looking at significantly less money than what we're spending on Neola currently. So, again, this just makes sense all around. Once this purchase is made, we have access to all of the documents, all the policies, all the administrative guidelines as Word documents that we can edit and maintain. So,
It's great.
Yeah. My understanding is we're getting more for less. So.
Correct.
Yes, I was going to point that out, of it is a reduction in what we are paying, along with streamlining what we're using for our services, so.
And getting more localized
Yes.
services too. Yeah.
Consistency.
And
Yeah.
I'll also say, Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, and they do automatic updates, or do they, as things change, so for a Title IX, for example?
they do both. There's an annual update process, but they will also provide us with urgent updates as we go. And actually, that annual fee, you'll notice on the form, it goes up to that amount. It won't go over that amount. but it could be less depending on the number of updates contained in that particular year.
Win-win.
That's great.
And we get a discount as we cater clients, so that helps too.
Great, thank you.
Absolutely.
We have no pulled consent agenda items, so the next committee of the whole meeting is Monday, October 7th at 6 PM. The next regular board meeting is Monday, October 21st at 7 PM. Eagles Points of Pride.
I'll go first. I know that everyone's got a lot of stuff, I'm just gonna do a blanket one. I know that there were some challenges and some opportunities leading us into the beginning of the school year, and I just wanna thank you both and your team and all the teachers for really sticking through this, and I think it was a great success, starting off with that kickoff down at the high school about the services, and I really think that it was a much more smooth line start to the year than last year, and I can only see it getting better and better and better, so thank you both and to the whole team.
Thank you.
Mine's kind of blanket too, but a build off of that is just the events I've been able to attend, and when I'm at my kids' schools, just being reminded of, despite those challenges and everything in the building, how well we are doing down to the classrooms, at providing an excellent educational experience for our kids, and really just our SEL work in this district is so top notch, and I'm so grateful for it. So I'm really grateful for all the teachers. I know it's hard starting off that year, and for the students too, because it's hard for them too, starting off that new year. So I'm very proud of both those groups.
I will go. Only had one, but because it's our meeting right before homecoming, I just want to shout out that homecoming is coming up. It's probably one of my favorite Ferndale activities every year to go to. It is on the 27th. I don't know what time the parade kicks off at. 4? At 4 o'clock. So just want to bring a highlight to that and say go Eagles.
Go Eagles.
I knew I should have gone before Jonathan. He takes mine. Same thing, just homecoming parade is coming up. I know there's been a big push for whether it be alumni coming back, whether it be of teachers and staff, school board members, alumni from the schools that have graduated, just community members that have been in the area to come out for it. If you have not been, it is an amazing event. I forcefully pull people along with me every single year, and every single year those people are so excited that they did come because it is such a good time, and it's just a way that the community does come together. The parade is amazing, whether you stand on the side of the road and watch and get candy, or whether you walk in it with your kids, and then just all the festivities and going into the homecoming game and being able to watch the football team, the cheer team, the marching band, all of it is a good time to be had. So looking forward to it. I'm very excited for another fun homecoming. So yes, September 27th, 4 p.m. is the parade, 7 p.m. is the game kickoff for it. So, and then remember you have to electronically get your tickets for the football game for it.
Homecoming is a good segue to this shout out. So I have become more aware of how many alum stay and work in our schools, and had the chance randomly last week to talk to Thomas Lindsay, who works at UHS, who is an alum. We had a lovely conversation. He was filling in at Ferndale High School at the desk in an evening where there were a number of meetings related to the fine arts boosters. Super grateful that he was there, but also just, it was really fun to listen to his pride about being a multi-generational Ferndale family. The cross-country coach, Isaac Webb, is also a Ferndale grad, and he is coaching this small but mighty cross-country team of some really great high school kids, and that's been super fun. Many other Ferndale alum, including some people around this table. So I just think it's something really special about the district. And I had this idea that maybe every once in a while Robert could highlight an alum or two some way, but I always have ideas for Robert, so I'm moving this one through our superintendent. I would not be the drum major's mother without announcing that the marching band has their first competition on Saturday in Grand Blanc. There's a lot of good excitement about that, and yeah, so many sports off and running. It's been super fun to just see the energy around the building. So I also have a number of teachers in my life who on Friday were feeling the stress of the first 5-day week, because a lot of them had done 2 4-day weeks and they were like done in by that 5-day week. So shout out to the teachers that survived the first 5-day week, and all good energy for the upcoming 5-day weeks, because there's a lot in a row.
A whole lot. We are counting. Okay. Okay, so there's lots of things to be proud of, but I'll focus tonight on elementary. I had a chance to attend Fuel's curriculum night as well as the elementary PTO meeting, and also had a chance to have a meeting just with the elementary PTO president, and we are really, I would just put it together and say that I'm just really proud of how we are utilizing our school buildings as a community hub. Like, it feels like community. Like, when I was at Fuel, it's not just to come and learn about the K-5 literacy curriculum. There was also, the library was there. There was also information from Tom about rooms. It was just all, PTO was there. So it's like we're utilizing all of our opportunities, all of our meetings to truly be a community, and it just felt good. We had some great plans alongside Kristen Sewer, elementary PTO, to kind of expand that thinking, right? Because at the end of the day, all of our boosters, all of our programming is in support of all of our students. So how can we streamline that process? If you are new to Ferndale, or if you're old to Ferndale, how might you be able to continue to support in a streamlined way instead of meeting or events every single day of the week? So we want to make it easy to get involved. We want to make it easy for you to be a part of this community, and it truly feels like that at all of our events. So I was just really excited to be at both of those places. Just looking forward to what's to come.
So I want to piggyback on curriculum night. I attended curriculum night at Lower, right? Really, really exciting. PTA was there representing, and also some of the yard signs. Taiwania was there sharing what we're doing in instruction and learning. And then the Office of Food Service was also represented and provided a sample of the foods that we share with our students. So there was a cucumber and tomato salad, and who would have ever thought blueberries go with balsamic vinegar and thyme, but it was really, really good. And the kids tried it. I couldn't believe it. Like, what kid would eat that? But they did. But they did. It was an opportunity to showcase what we're attempting to do this year, to reimagine what we do with food and how we serve our students. So it was a really good night. Really good night.
It's everybody, yeah? So, item 11, request to go into closed session to discuss the superintendent's goals. I think we have to approve this, yes?
Yeah.
With who? And with who?
And with who?
Is it the school board and Camille?
Right.
Yeah, so
With the school board and
I'll-
Camille.
I'll move to go into closed session to discuss the superintendent's goals with the Board of Education and Camille.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, Ms. Shepherd.
Turner,
Yes.
Seglerik,
Yes.
Elter,
Yes.
Latash.
Yes.
Vice President Fulmer.
Yes,
Thank you.
with 5 yes votes, the motion passes, and we will go into closed session.